I know, but
Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:03. Can I have a moment of silence, please? I'll stand for the flag salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Kenny?
Here.
Ms. Blystein?
Here.
Mr. Bromhall?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mrs. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Meeker?
Here.
Mrs. Trompe?
Here.
Mrs. Topps?
Here.
Ms. Fitzwater here. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, the Cinnaminson Township Clerk, and the district website on the following dates: March 3rd, 2023, March 28th, 2023, and January 17th, 2024. We're moving ahead to Section 4, Routine Business. We have A, the Board Secretary's report for March of '24, B, the Treasurer's report for March of '24, C, the receipts and transfers for March of '24, D, the monthly transfer report for March of '24, E, the high school activities report for April of '24, F, the food service management cost performance statement for April of '24, G, the certified bill list for May of 2024, and the approval of minutes, regular minutes from April 16th, confidential minutes from April 16th, and the public hearing on April 25th, all 2024. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 4, routine business items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Meeker?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 5, routine matters. We have the enrollment report as of May 3rd, the health report for April, the fire alarm report for April, the crisis drill report for April, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you to members of the audience and those of you watching at home. We appreciate your attendance at this evening's board meeting. Ironically, we normally are in a very big room with many, many empty seats and lots of extra square footage, so we appreciate everybody cramming in here with us in the library. The temperature is certainly nice in here. So welcome to our regular meeting of the Board of Education during my superintendent's report. If you've never been here for them before, we talk about some of the things that are going on in the district and recognize some of the people that are doing outstanding things. And I'll start that presentation this evening with our New Albany Students of the Month for preschool, and more to come on preschool. Nolan Torres, kindergarten, Shay Fan. First grade, Ryan McEwen. Second grade, Charlotte Appalucci. And our special star student, Logan Kaczynski. I also have some names of some Rush April Students of the Month, but I understand they will find out tomorrow, so I'm not going to read them just yet. We'll table that until June. Is it okay? Okay, I have the green light, so this is hot off the press. No one tell them. I'm sure if you're watching at home, Rush students, stop watching right now. Act surprised tomorrow. So congratulations to third grader Colton Rabinski, fourth grader Bella Dominguez-Palat, fifth grader Kendall Lorenzen, and our specialist student of the month, Ella Trotman. So speaking of hot off the press, just received this from Mr. Wilkinson. Congratulations to our boys track team who won their division. Also, congratulations to our girls lacrosse team that won the division for the second year in a row, and this is the first time in the history of the sport for the school that they've ever had consecutive titles, so congratulations to them. Also, congratulations to our golf team that won the Group 2 South State Sectional. In other news, it is testing season here in Cinnaminson, so our students will be taking the NJSLA, the COGATS, AP testing, so there are a number of assessments this time of year. We certainly wish them all the best of luck, particularly students who are testing here at the middle school this week. I'd like to recognize and thank members of Cinnaminson CPAG. You probably have seen their announcements come out through my office and also on our Facebook page. Thank you to Mrs. Joyce, Mrs. Neal, and Ms. Paplowski, who came to my office to meet with me in late April to discuss the progress of the CPAG group and to help set goals, or for them to share their goals with me for the following school year. And as always, I want to thank them for their continued partnership. Last month, I also mentioned it's performance season. We have a large commitment to the arts here in Cinnaminson, and this past Wednesday, an excellent performance from our CMS choir. On the 16th and 17th, for the first time ever, Rush is putting on a school musical. They'll be doing Lion King Jr., and I know many people in this room will be in attendance and are very excited to see this new program in the arts start with our younger students. On the 23rd of May is the district strings concert. On the 30th is the district band concert. And on June 5th, we have an outdoor cabaret here at the middle school. And at the high school, we have a cabaret on the 9th. Those are always excellent performances. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend the County New Jersey School Boards Association dinner. So for members of the board, I highly encourage you to check in with your state and county association. Our Mrs. Iacone is the vice president for the county, and we look forward to having her give a report on what's happening in the county at a future board meeting. Preschool update. Many of you may be aware that this past Wednesday, we officially launched the first full-day pre-K program for students in Cinnaminson. We opened up with 2 classrooms, and we are looking to expand that until ultimately we can reach the entire universe of 3-year-old and 4-year-old students for full-day pre-K program. So we're very excited to kind of dip our toe into the water at the end of this school year and looking to expand it next year and into the following 3 school years after that on our path to opening up for all students. So I mentioned this at the last meeting. One of our biggest obstacles has been something you've heard me say a number of times. We have some square footage issues in the district. We continue to grow in student population, but our buildings are not growing in kind. So we are turning over every stone. I applaud the efforts of the board and their commitment to putting some Band-Aids on some of our problems, but also looking to invest in some possible future brick and mortar construction to accommodate our new students and our new programs. It is recognition season in addition to performance season. So this past May 1st was Principal's Recognition Day. So I'd like to recognize Mrs. Jones, Mrs. DeSimone, Mrs. Melcher, Mr. Gorman, and even Dr. Goulburn, who is the principal of our memorial school on National Principal Day, which was also Substitute Appreciation Day. As many of you also know, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we've always applauded and thanked the efforts of our home and school associations for providing lunch for all of our staff. They let them know how much they are appreciated throughout the year. Last month, we had an update from Ms. Meeker from the Home and School Association to talk about all of the wonderful things they do to support our staff. But we have another committee that meets in the district, the Staff Recognition Committee. And this year, they developed an idea to try something new, to reach out to partners in the community to see who might be willing to engage in a partnership with us to show how much they support our schools. And being displayed behind me now are all of the businesses that donated discounts to teachers, gift cards. Some of the businesses, handed cash to go out and buy gift cards for other businesses. But every door that we knocked on, folks could not have been more supportive to show how much they appreciate and recognize the value of the teachers who work with all of our students. And it certainly goes beyond just the classroom teachers, our ESPs, support staff, secretaries, everybody that's involved in educating the students. So I wanted to give a special recognition to all of these businesses that are behind me. We're going to repost this on our social media outlets as well. They've committed to reinvesting into our community. So I hope you would show them your appreciation and support them as well. And we certainly appreciate all of their generous support. So tomorrow evening, our staff are invited to a special raffle giveaway for some of the prizes from these businesses. And I just also wanted to say on a personal note, I myself am a 3rd-generation educator. My son goes off to school next year to hopefully become a 4th-generation educator. It is my family business. It is all I have ever known in my professional life. My brother, my wife, my sister-in-law, my mother, my father, my grandfather. Teaching is our family business, and I can think of no better and more noble profession. I am so indebted to all of the practitioners who work with our children and your students every single day. I thank them. I am indebted to them. And if you haven't done so, my theme this week is teachers are awesome. And if they have that teacher in your life who did something special for you, as educators, we never we never don't love hearing from former students who may share a word of thank you. So my unsolicited advice, go out there and just thank a teacher for what they've done or the impact that they've had in your life. And certainly to all of our teachers here, thank you to all of them. And we look forward to recognizing some of them in just a little bit later on this evening. And with that, Mrs. Fitzwater, I apologize for my lengthy report, but there it is.
It is well said. Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to approve Section 5, Routine Matters, items A through E?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Topps?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 6, the Student Representative Report. The high school representative tonight is Anthony Udaton.
Thank you. The April students of the month are the following students. Class of 2024, Barat Alango. Class of 2025, Eric Vickery. Class of 2026, Sophia Spite. Class of 2027, Kaylin Quinn. All spring sports are continuing their 2024 seasons. Baseball. The team's record is currently 6-5, having solid victories over rival Delran, Cherokee, and Princeton. Softball. The team's record is 14-6. Their next game is Wednesday, May 8th against New Egypt. Golf. The team's record is 13-3 with a 6-2 division record. They took home the South Jersey Group 2 title last night. The team was led by an amazing 72 from Ryan Gibson and other amazing team members. Boys tennis. The team continued its season, and their record is 8-2. Drew Harvey has his 9th win, while Evan Kozik and Davi De Brito Mello each have won 8 matches. Boys volleyball. The team continued their season with the record of 11-4 with their win against Collinswood, which puts them on a 4-game winning streak. Chris Leitz led the team with 8 kills, and Jarrett Edwards had 12 digs, Andrew Zemecki had 18 assists, and RJ Trempe had 5 blocks and a game-winning kill. Girls lacrosse. The team's record is 9-2. Last night, the team clinched the 2024 BCLS Division Championship, and they are the first girls lacrosse team to earn back-to-back championships in CHS history. Boys lacrosse. The team's record is 9-3. Their next game is Thursday, May 9th against Bishop Eustace. Track and field. Jim Logren finished 10th with a PR of 11:05 in the South Jersey Elite. His time is only 0.15 seconds off the school record and one of the fastest times in CHS history in close to 40 years. Junior Victor Mira threw a PR of 159.10 in the South Elite at Delsey and finished 5th in the event. Jordan Flounder with the PR in the 100-meter hurdles, and Kellen Kohler with the PR in the 400 hurdles. Congratulations to the boys track team for clinching the Patriot Division Championship with the 111-20 victory over Bordentown on Monday. Congratulations also to the girls track team on winning the BCLS Patriots Division title with their 75-59 win over Bordentown as well. CHS Play Unified. The Unified track team crushed it at the Morristown on Monday, May 6th. Isaiah Williams, Isaiah Phillips, and Sierra Gallagher took first in their 100-meter heats, and Isaiah Williams jumped the meet best in long jump at 15.7. Congratulations to all athletes. Student Council. Elections for the 2024 to 2025 school year are currently underway. Election materials are available from Student Council advisors, the Student Council Elections Google Classroom, and the high school website on the Student Council page. All materials are due on Wednesday, May 29th, and elections are Monday, June 3rd. CHS Music Department. Our CHS music students are hard at work preparing for our spring concerts. The CHS choral concert is May 15th, and the strings concert is May 23rd, and the band concert is May 30th, all starting at 7 p.m. in the CHS auditorium and free of charge. Additional congratulations go out to Sam Bobrin and Kim Mason on their selection to the 24 to 25 New Jersey All-State Choirs. Great job. DECA. Cinnaminson DECA had 10 members attend the 2024 DECA International Career Development in Anaheim, California from April 26th to May 1st, including 7 who attended and from 3 different emerging leadership academies. DECA's Vice President of Career Development, Benjamin Tynoff, competed in the Restaurant and Food Service Management event and achieved recognition as a top 20 international finalist and received 2 medallions on stage during the Achievement Award session, a silver ribbon for a top marketing assessment score, and a blue ribbon as one of 20 finalists. Overall, the conference was a success. Interact. Interact held a talent show on Thursday, April 25th in the high school auditorium, and it was a great success. The performers were primarily Cinnaminson High School students as well as some faculty members. Interact has not held a talent show since 2018, and we had great reviews and are hopeful that it will become an annual event. They raised over $500 that will go toward Interact scholarships. Seniors. On Friday, April 19th, the League of Women Voters, the NJ Department of State, and the Burlington County Superintendent of Elections visited CHS to lead a voter registration drive. The event was part of New Jersey's Voter Registration Week. Seniors visited the library during their physical education classes to learn how to register to vote and participated in a mock election. Students cast their ballots on actual voting machines used in Burlington County elections. Nearly 100 students registered.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
And now we'll hear from the middle school representative, Kathy Vo.
Good evening. Cinnaminson Middle School is proud to announce its Students of the Month for April. Congratulations to 6th grader Ashley Abreu, 7th grader Ryder Lawrence, and 8th grader Jen Ben Jacob. May is Better Hearing and Speech Month. A speech-language hearing disorder can affect people of all ages. May is also Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. This month, we celebrate the traditions, legacies, and culture of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders across the United States. Spring sports are coming to a close soon, and the teams have done well. The boys' baseball A team is 8-2, and the B team is 8-4. The softball A team is 10-2, and the B team is 6-1-2. The lacrosse A team is 8-0, and the B team is 3-3. The track and field has their last home meet on Thursday, May 9th at CHS, and a pizza party on Friday. The 7th graders went on a zoo trip on May 1st. Students had a fantastic time learning about the animals' habitats. The 6th graders will be going on a trip to Philadelphia to visit the Penn Museum on June 6th and 13th. CMS Chorus just wrapped up their spring concerts with amazing songs, small group acts, and solo acts. Congratulations to the students who received awards that night. This year, the 8th grade luau dance will be on Friday, June 7th, and their class trip to Great Adventure will be on Monday, June 10th. We hope the dance and the trip will present a final opportunity for the 8th grade class to celebrate their years together at Cinnaminson Middle School. Some important dates in May. May 6th to 10th, NJSLA, LA, and Math and Science is May 13th and 14th. May 17th, Fitness Frenzy Half a Day for the students, and May 27th, school is closed for Memorial Day. Congratulations to all the Teacher of the Year winners and the Board of Education Award winners. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you, Kathy. Any comments or questions from the board members for either one of our students? Sure. Awesome.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Section 7, we have a couple of presentations tonight. The first one is the Cinnaminson Middle School Boys Group presentation.
Yes, thank you. And as Mrs. Nelson is preparing to come to the podium to offer a presentation, I will say to any board members, if you'd like to relocate, there is a video portion of it, so you may choose to join me over and off to the side. Originally, we were going to recognize our educators first as the first presentation, but I felt that it was really important I knew we were going to have a little bit of a larger than usual audience, so after Mrs. Ms. Nelson presented her remarks in her presentation to the administrative group tonight, we called an audible and invited her to do this presentation for the larger group because I think it's really a meaningful program for as many stakeholders in our community to learn about as possible. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Nelson, who has some introductory remarks, and just give us 1 second to relocate, and we can, yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This year, CMS, we had the pleasure of piloting a wonderful boys mentoring program that we truly saw so much growth in our students. So a little bit about the program. This was a mentoring program specifically for 8th grade male students just in our pilot year. It's a 12-week program launched with parent guardian support, and it was facilitated both by a licensed clinical counselor, who you'll hear from a little bit later, as well as 2 of our CMS staff members. We selected students just from a cross-section of our student population. We felt it was really important in our pilot year to include students from all different backgrounds, cultures, academic performance, students who are involved in sports, et cetera, so that we truly have a representation of our student body. So with that, what was our mission? Our mission was to build capacity in our students and, of course, to assure that they can be successful academically, socially, and emotionally, as well as contribute very positively to our Cinnaminson community. Our program leadership was twofold. Like I said, we had the pleasure of having CMS staff as our mentors for the program, and that was Mr. Bill Sin, who is one of our crisis counselors and also a coach of many sports and very actively engaged in sports and activities with our students, as well as Mr. Will Welcher, who's a 6th grade social studies teacher who also is very active as a coach, as an advisor, and just someone that the kids, again, are very familiar with, having come through the social studies program. And on the other side, we also had a licensed clinical counselor, Mr. Jonathan Drummins, who is also a former language arts teacher at the middle school level. He was a teacher for 16 years and also an experienced boys group facilitator. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to him so he can talk to you a little more about what the students learned during this program.
Good evening, everybody. To the board, thank you for affording me this opportunity to speak before you. To the staff, Mr. Sin, Ms. Nelson, Mr. Welcher, rest of the staff, thank you for welcoming me into the building. To the parents, thank you for trusting me with your most prized possessions. It's truly an honor. And to my guys up here, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for opening up. Thank you for being yourselves and just being, you know, open to everything, and it really was an honor to work with you, so thank you all for that. My name is Jonathan Drummins. I'm a clinical mental health counselor. Another term for it is a psychotherapist. We usually shorten off the psycho, not to scare people, so we just call it therapist. I was a teacher prior to that for 16 years. As a therapist, I work in Camden and Burlington counties, so that shows it's a lot of diversity. I work with kids from Camden that have issues that you wouldn't believe, and then I work with kids from Morristown with winding driveways that you wouldn't believe. There's a common theme, and a lot of them need somebody to talk to, and it's just helping them to hear the voices inside of them that they should be listening to, and that's something that we did with our group, and we really opened up over the course of the 12 weeks, and it was really successful. Monday mornings, Mr. Welcher and Mr. Sen really set goals and intentions for the week. They worked on a connection and conversations related to whatever we were working on during the week, and they brainstormed ways that they could contribute positively to the school community, the environment. Just being a positive person, you know, just be a good person, be kind, and ways that you can do that and how it impacts someone else. It's like the butterfly effect. You never know how your interaction can change someone else, and that's really what we like to focus on. During weekly group sessions, we worked on different things like compassion, coping skills, emotional intelligence. Knowing what you feel and understanding what other people feel can really solve a lot of problems. Being a helper, confidence, and public speaking. Do I go to the next one? Okay. Building coping skills. In life, things happen to you. We can't avoid that. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to them. Your choices that you make, a choice will either help you or it'll hurt you. 2 H's. You have to decide if this choice is worth the risk of hurting you or hurting someone else, or if it's not, you got to let it go and find a way to help yourself. Controlling and coping. If I can't control the situation, how can I find a healthy way to cope with it? Also, we covered etiquette and first impressions. Mr. Welcher brought in a lot of ties for the boys, and they got to go home with the ties and really work on that and tie their ties and things like that. I used to have a bunch. Once I left teaching, those ties went bye-bye. Risk assessment strategies, and that's really stopping and thinking. Sometimes that involves taking a deep breath, because when you stop, you think, it gives you a chance to process. At this age, their frontal lobe is not developed until they're 25. So a lot of the time they work from the pleasure principle, where they're reactive. They do something because it feels good right now, and they don't think about the consequences. And that's what risk assessing is. If I do this, what will it lead to? And then if it does lead to something, how am I responsible enough to deal with what I did? Taking responsibility, taking ownership for your choices. Effective communication. Most situations can be solved with communication. You just have to talk, and you have to be real and you have to be open. If your mom's at the park and she says, your body language shows, like you're at the park and she says, put on a coat, and you say, Mom, I'm not cold. Your body language is saying that you're cold. You have to be in tune with what you're feeling and what you're putting out there so that you're more successful. And lastly, well, not lastly, but this slide, lastly, healthy relationships. What's functional and what's not functional. And exposure. It's really exposing them to things that they will be greeted with, even if it's years down the line. If we can just show them, like, hey, a topic that we discussed was consent. And if someone says no, you stop then, or you don't get permission for somebody. You're tickling somebody and they say stop, even though it's done. It has to be done. So just exposing them to different things that most people aren't exposed to and they're unaware of, it arms them with the tools that they need to be successful, not just in school, but out in the community. I'm going to hand it back over to Ms. Nelson. Sorry, I talked a lot, but usually as a therapist, we listen, but I had the mic, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Drummons. So some of the growth that the students, the staff, parents saw were academic growth, building positive relationships with staff and peers, of course, improved confidence, increase in self-discipline, reduction in some of those impulsive behaviors that Mr. Drummons was talking about, an increase in positive peer interactions, problem solving, utilization, and of course, increased self-awareness and self-reflection. And some of our student-reported takeaways, we actually sent out a survey to the students and just had them share some of the things that they took away from it. And these were some of the things that they did share. Learning how to walk away from negative situations, setting goals, thinking before I act, having confidence, showing patience, being a good friend, and turning into a well-respected man and showing etiquette. And now, I'd love to share with you guys a few words from our students and our mentors, so please tune in.
Hi, my name is William Welcher. I'm one of the 8th grade middle school mentors for our boys group. One of the things we tried to do this year, right in the beginning, was to help the young men become more comfortable. So we introduced ourselves to them as men who are not just educators or people who work within the school, but we gave them an opportunity to find out who we actually are, and knowing that we too have to deal with certain situations throughout the day. So that gave our young men an opportunity to feel a lot more comfortable with us and opening up and let us know, like, some of the things that they're dealing with. a couple of weeks into the program, the young men actually were given an opportunity to research topics that they were dealing with, and that gave them, a more of an opportunity to come to us and have those communications. Some of the things we talked about in the beginning were etiquette, building confidence, how to make decisions on their own, conflict resolution, and one of the most important things was to give them the ability to work on their public speaking. And I mean, after 13 weeks, the young men, they felt more comfortable, and it gave us an opportunity to know that, or we gave them an opportunity to know that whatever was said within, the room stayed in there. And it's definitely an opportunity for me to work with this group, and we look forward to continuing, hopefully in the near future.
One word you would use to describe your experience with the boys group.
Helpful.
How is it helpful to you?
I think I'm a lot better at controlling my emotions and not letting my anger get the best of me. And I have more respect for adults, knowing that the other people, it's helped me to realize other people have feelings, and it's helped me to think before I act and think what is this person gonna feel after I do this?
We describe boys group is enriching because we get to learn things about ourselves and we gain confidence and we got to learn a lot of things.
Describe the boys group in one word, I would say brotherhood.
How would you describe it?
Helpful. It was helpful because it helped me make friends and learn to think before I act and to do things with purpose and altitude.
I would describe it as a good opportunity to have us connect.
I could describe the boys group. I would say it's a good environment. One of my favorite moments in Boys Club is talking about patience, because patience is a big part of life and it helps you get through things and get through obstacles in life and stuff.
The boys group was a really great opportunity for us to be able to work with some of the young men in our building in a different capacity, and especially being able to bring in Mr. Drummond's an outside voice who was able to maybe communicate some of the same messages, but having it come from another perspective, I think, was really a powerful tool that we were able to tap into. We broke down, I think, some boundaries as far as the boys understanding how to be vulnerable as a man, as a young man, and that being okay, and being able to sort of tap into some topics and things like that that maybe we wouldn't ordinarily get to, but having depth of those conversations and providing insight for them in those conversations to understand, having more depth to it, I guess, would be the best way to say it. And hopefully that is insight and knowledge that they're able to carry forward with them. Obviously that's the goal, is to be able to take these things forward and make them part of their daily life and hopefully, impact their decisions as they move forward and become young men.
My name is Sean Rinkwitz, and this boys group has helped me with my actions and my respect to staff and friends. I used to be the kid that gets in trouble, but now I think before I act and I listen, and I know when to walk away. I know when to calm down and be respectful. With my time in boys group, my grades have also progressed. I used to have 1 or 2 80s, so I would never make principal's list, but now I'm getting all 90s and focusing more. This place has helped me be a better person.
Before joining the boys group, I think I was confident, but not when it came to trying new things or having to do something in front of others. After meeting with my peers, Mr. Sin, Mr. Welcher, and Mr. Drummond, I now have confidence in everything I do. For example, I am more confident on the court in showing my coach what I am capable of doing with my teammates. In addition to being more confident in basketball, I think I am more confident in school. Some of my teachers have commented that my work ethic has improved, and I'm now proud to show what I can do in the classroom as well.
My favorite thing about the Boys Club was we met every week and we talked for a whole period.
The Boys Club helped me gain confidence in myself
and not be shy around new people.
When I joined the boys group, I really wasn't like stand up for like the bullying and stuff like that, and people arguing and stuff like that. And I stepped into it and be brave and try to stop people from arguing or like starting a fight.
I'd like to thank my mentors, Mr. Welcher, Mr. Sin, and Mr. Drummond, and especially Ms. Nelson, for guiding me through every difficulties I had this year and with persevering through my academic success.
Thank you. How about a round of applause for our gentlemen and our mentors? Our hope moving forward with the support, hopefully, of the board will be that we can now having completed a pilot year, is that we can now expand and have a boys and girls mentoring program, as well as a tiered mentoring program moving forward next year. So at this time, we would love to recognize some of the young men. They all could not be here. As you know, our Cinnaminson students are active students, so I'm sure many of them are out at a sports activity, CCD, you name it. But we just want to take that time and recognize them. So, gentlemen, if you can stand and come up and please receive your certificate from your mentors when I call your name. First, Mr. Oliver Huber. Ryan Murphy. Christian Paiva Oliveira. Sean Rinkowicz. And I would also like to take the time to read the names of the gentlemen who dedicated their 12 weeks to participating in this program. If you would allow me just to read all of the names and applaud at the end. Davi Rodriguez, Kasir Randalls, Patrick O'Brien, Sean Lane, Amir Holman, Jason Harvey, Mason DeRose, and Tyrone Bevins. Thank you all very much.
If I could get you four to join your gentlemen there, we'll take a quick group picture. No, you're in. Make one exception to the boys. Congratulations once again, gentlemen. And finally, before we transition to the next portion of this evening, this idea seeded back in the beginning of the school year. Back in September, we have goal-setting meetings with our administrative staff in my office, Dr. Goldburn and I, and all of the principals and supervisors. And we look at this year, and there are certain goals that we need to achieve academically, certain goals that we want to do, vis-a-vis attendance or student discipline, and then one idea that is the administrators, kind of their pet project that they get to seed. And Ms. Nelson mentioned this idea to me, and then from there she took it and ran with it and did an absolutely fantastic job. She presented before a committee of our board. She knew all the resources and connected all of the dots to make this happen. So the last round of applause, please, for Ms. Nelson on an excellent job. And definitely something that we would love to replicate in the future. So at this point, I've certainly spoken enough this evening, so I'm going to turn it over to some of our administrative staff. We're going to introduce some very special people to our district. I appreciate everybody's patience in getting to this point. I know a number of you are here for our of the year presentation. So at this point, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Tyndall, who will be representing our facilities and operations department. So, Mr. Tyndall.
I'm not Mr. Tyndall.
Can be if you want. Good evening, Mr. Capello, members of the board, honored guests, family and friends. This is a good one. This is a fun one. The Achievement Award winner for the Operations Department this year is Mr. Tom McHugh III. Tom is a graduate of Cinnaminson in 1974. He's been with us approximately 43 years. Wow. I can go on and on about him. Every snowstorm, every brutal summer. He's retiring this year, which I'm going to miss him. He's a great guy. I can count on him for almost everything. So if you see the lines on the fields are a little bit crooked, Tommy usually paints the field. We're going to have to break a new guy in for that. But, you know, the saying is they don't make them like they used to, and that's definitely it right there, Tom. Thank you.
And now I would like to invite up Ms. Tomkowitz from our Transportation Department. Joanne?
Hi. Good evening to everyone. It's only going to be a few words. Rick, our mail courier, has been with Cinnaminson for 5 years. He's been a dedicated, loyal, friendly, do anything you want. As one of the bus drivers described him as, he's the best. So he deserves the appreciation tonight. Rick?
Okay. I do need your picture, though. It's not good. All right, moving right along, we always have a little bit of a conversation in the order in which we're going to present these awards, and we said we were going to do it tonight in birth order. Now, saying that, birth order of the students and the schools that we serve. So we'll be starting with our pre-K, K-1-2 school. So I will introduce Mrs. Jones, who will come up and introduce a couple fine people to you.
Good evening. Thank you. So we have several awards that we will be honoring several of our staff members. So I'm going to open it up with Mrs. Oliver.
We would like to honor our 2024 Governor's Educator of the Year, Mrs. Mary Kay Sutton. She is one of our second grade teachers at New Albany, and she is such a dedicated teacher. She shows empathy, understanding, and the willingness to meet each student where they are all of the time. She recognizes their unique strengths and their challenges as well. She infuses creativity and engaging lessons just to get the kids excited about learning. Mrs. Sutton always oversees student teachers as part of her commitment to shaping the future of education. She devotes a lot of time and mentoring and energy into helping future educators become, hopefully, future Governor's Educator of the Year as well, but, you know, getting them ready for the reality of their first classroom job. So she just this year spearheaded the establishment of an outdoor science classroom with the help of the Boy Scouts. She hopes to plant seeds and bring science lessons outdoors for the students in New Albany as the outdoor classroom gets finished. She is a dedicated member of New Albany Schools community. She's a part of our MERT team. She's an after-school tutor, many different committees at New Albany. Last year, she began one of our after-school clubs called Groovy Games. They run in 5-week segments, and the kids are always happy and enjoying all the different games they're playing, headbands and Chutes and Ladders. They're just very engaged and excited in there. So she's just a wonderful example of how she takes the look at the whole community, at the school as a community, and really just creates future, you know, successful students and awesome learners and future successful teachers as well. So congratulations, Mrs. Mary Kay Sutton.
So this next person, Mrs. Heather Toko, has been awarded the Governor's Educational Support Professional of the Year for 2024. Mrs. Toko is not only a reading specialist and has been for many years. Last year, she took on the challenge of becoming a reading recovery specialist. She spent countless hours studying, learning her craft, and then poured into her students last year as well as this year. And we were able to see many gains in our students' growth in reading. In addition, Mrs. Toko consistently looks for new ways to perfect her craft, but also make learning fun for her students. You can often find her students with her in one of their reading sessions. They're laughing, they're giggling, they're enjoying their time with Mrs. Toko. She's also instrumental in planning and coordinating events across New Albany, including Read Across America, as well as Literacy Night. In addition, Mrs. Toko is instrumental in mentoring new staff members, and she also assesses incoming students not only throughout the school year, but also during the summer months. It is with great pleasure that I congratulate Mrs. Toko as the 2024 Governor's Support Professional of the Year. Mrs. Toko. All right, so this next person is adored by many, and it's clearly evident by the fan club that she has with her this evening. Mrs. Deb Sotel is honored as the Board of Education Achievement Award recipient this evening, and Mrs. Sotel is instrumental and has been for many years at New Albany School. Not only is she the assistant in the classroom for T1, but also first grade this year. Mrs. Sotel takes care of everyone. She starts her day in the driveway of New Albany, directing buses, parents, as well as staff to their parking spots, unloading students safely. So we thank her for that. In addition, she is constantly guiding new staff, older staff, colleagues, and everyone adores her. It's clearly evident in the students that see her in the hallway, they run over to her, they hug her, they just enjoy being around her. And we are so proud to announce that Mrs. Sotel is the Board of Ed Achievement Award recipient for 2024. And our last award is a 2022 Volunteer Award. Mrs. Garbett is a lifelong resident of Cinnaminson, as well as a former educator and administrator in Cinnaminson School District. Over the past several years, Mrs. Garbett has given back in so many ways to the students and staff of New Albany. She's helpful with student testing, has run a book club for second grade students, as well as the Thursday Thinkers group in kindergarten. We are extremely appreciative of Mrs. Garbett's generosity as she continuously gives back to the school community that she loves. Thank you so much for your volunteer efforts and for making a positive impact on our staff, students, and school community. At this time, I'd like to invite Mrs. DeSimone and Mrs. Mealy from the Rush School.
So they told me I had to be concise, and I swear I cut this down. I'm just saying. I will still cut it down more, but I am very pleased to announce Mrs. Nissa Barker as Rush School's candidate for the New Jersey Governor's Educator Award. Congratulations, Mrs. Barker. So Mrs. Barker can definitely be described as a teacher leader on the third grade team. She is highly proactive in serving her students. First and foremost, she works very diligently to create connections with her children, to get to know them on a personal level. Using those bonds, she has created an environment that is supportive and inclusive. She ensures that her students understand their skills comprehensively. She utilizes valuable data in order to create groups, instructional groups, to best focus her instruction for her students. And she uses accountable talk with her students, as well as communication skills to enhance their cooperative groups. She is a staunch advocate for her students, works tirelessly to hit every resource she possibly can, to garner strategies from others, to work alongside our other specialists in the building to make sure that her students are getting everything that they possibly need. She also deserves commendation for her self-reflection. I think those of us who have worked with teachers, we know that they are the absolute hardest on themselves. So when Mrs. Barker comes in for her summative conferences, or just a conference talking about, something that's going on in her class, she's very often coming in with so many strategies and ideas of things that she would like to try to work on and to come up with those constructive goals for herself. She is absolutely committed to her professional development. She has been part of our book club, which we are focused on grading policies and making them equitable. With regards to her collegial relationships, Mrs. Barker is absolutely a leader among her peers. They often go to her for assistance, for ideas. She works together collaboratively with a fantastic group of third grade teachers, but she really adds to that group with her creativity. She, just like I heard with the other teachers who have been nominated, she has an open door for new teachers, for student teachers. She is always looking to further the profession of education, and we're super excited every time she decides that she will take on someone in her classroom. She's also a wonderful volunteer and leader in the school community. She is an after-school tutor. She runs the Creative Arts Club. She is a critical part of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and she has spearheaded, along with a few other teachers, a Stand Up Against Hate art competition, in which this year they received hundreds of submissions that they had to really go through and fine-tune to come down to a top 3 in the grade level. So it was a lot of work on her part, all volunteer-based. She's also now co-organizing our YMCA camp trips, which she might be rethinking at this point. You may have seen her play against the Harlem Wizards. She loves to go over and have fun with that. She also runs stations during our math, literacy, and STEAM nights. We asked for some feedback from her students' families, and they had these thoughts to share. Mrs. Barker creates a classroom environment that her students are excited to enter each day. It is a safe place where our son made strides we could not have imagined. She works hard to ensure that every student is able to learn in a way that fits them best. She uses positive reinforcement to give the students the confidence they need to achieve their goals. She connects with each individual student and gives 110% so that they are all set up for success. Our child's time with Mrs. Barker is a year we will never forget. For this multitude of reasons and more, it is a true pleasure to announce Mrs. Nissa Barker as our Rush School candidate for the New Jersey Governor's Educator of the Year.
There's no lollipop with that, Mrs. DeSimone, come on. Good evening, everyone. It's my very great pleasure to recognize Mrs. Jackie Dobos as the Rush School Board of Education Achievement Award recipient for 2024. We've been referring to her as of late as an unsung hero of Rush School, but that ends tonight since you're all going to know how wonderful she is, just as we do. Mrs. Dobos joined our district in 2013. She is one of our math specialists and interventionalists, so she works very tirelessly supporting students who historically have not always been met with immediate success in mathematics, and does a tremendous job of giving them strategies and techniques that they can employ to not only understand the material, but also to increase their mathematical competence and competency, which is a gift to them in and of itself. Mrs. Dobos connects the activities in her classroom to real-world application and makes the content very relatable for them, drawing them in right from the start, and does not consider a lesson finished until students not only have demonstrated the content, but also have the ability to teach the information to one another. And I have witnessed that firsthand as well. They all argue over who will be the teacher that day and support Mrs. Dobos in the classroom. Mrs. Dobos, in addition to being a phenomenal teacher, is an incredible colleague. Her peers will tell you that she is a dependable person, she is caring, she is kind, but she does this all behind the scenes without ever seeking praise or recognition. So we are very, very happy that Mrs. Dobos is a member of our Rush family, and we congratulate her tonight on this achievement.
At this time, we would like to welcome Mrs. Kristen Melcher, Mr. Jay Miley, and Ms. Sierra.
Expectations for her students, encourages them to put forth their best effort, and truly understands the unique needs of her classes. Her lessons are well prepared, detailed, and engaging for her students. She makes vigilant effort to meet her students where they are and build upon their needs on a daily basis. She strives to find opportunities to bond with her students and their families in an effort to make them feel supported, connected, and safe in school. Mrs. Aguado actively seeks out many students in need of making connections to help better both their education and overall school experience. In addition to being a highly effective educator, Mrs. Aguado also serves as the field hockey and lacrosse head coach at CMS. Through her steadfast preparation, her relationships with her athletes and their families, and the joy she exhibits watching her girls compete, it is evident that she demonstrates that same dedication to the students both on and off the field. Each year, Mrs. Aguado personally purchases keepsakes for her 8th grade athletes to enhance their memories they had during their time with her. She's in contact with the high school head coaches, develops schemes, plans, and practices that are designed to prepare her athletes for success at the next level. In addition, Mrs. Aguado has developed a mentoring program for a number of her athletes, allowing her players to build upon their skills, leadership, and capabilities, and to learn to balance the role of being a student athlete in and out of the classroom. Many individuals around the community know Mrs. Aguado not only for her good work at the middle school, but also the service that she does for this town. Each year, she runs a holiday Facebook raffle in which all the proceeds are donated to the Jane Wellenbach Needy Family Fund. Her sister helps her too, and the big guy. This is a week-long event where several prizes are auctioned off each night. The organization and thoroughness that it takes to execute this event is no easy feat. Mrs. Aguado takes on the challenge year after year in order to help spread the holiday cheer for some of our families here in Cinnaminson. Furthermore, she helps spearhead a donation for the women and infants of the Good Counsel Home in partnership with CMS's Stop Club, which she also co-advises. Women's toiletries, diapers, wipes, formula, clothing, blankets, toys, and bibs are all collected by the school club during the month of March. Mrs. Aguado strives to teach the students involved in this club the importance of giving back to their community and taking care of those that are in need. Finally, the relationships she has formed with her students, their families, and her colleagues are second to none. Many rely on Mrs. Aguado for advice, assistance, knowledge of students, and her love for her community. Her unwavering willingness to go above and beyond her students, her athletes, their families, and their colleagues is a remarkable quality that she possesses and therefore deserves to be honored as this year's recipient of the Governor's Educator of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Good evening. CMS is proud to announce Mrs. Jen Berry as our Board of Education Achievement Award winner. Mrs. Berry is the secretary in the CMS Counseling Office, whose role comes with many responsibilities. Let me start by saying being the new kid in your middle school years definitely comes with its unique set of challenges. I was actually a new kid myself in 6th grade, so this transition always holds a special place in my own heart. And I am so happy for our new students that the first person they get to meet is Mrs. Berry. While she doesn't have formal counseling credentials, she does have a natural, innate ability to relate to human beings, and her warmth is genuine. She somehow makes you feel like you've known her for years. Counselors walk out of their offices and say, "What is happening here?" But her sense of humor is wonderfully suited for middle school students. She came to this position because she wanted to find a connection with kids again, and it shows every single day. Another strength is she consistently shows empathy to students on their toughest days, whether it's some teenage heartbreak, some grief, or challenges with friendships. She shows care and compassion and concern. Mrs. Berry also shows commitment to fostering a sense of belonging. About a month and a half ago, she participated in a chocolate chip cookie baking competition with a student when she found out he had some culinary interests. She was smart enough to bring the judging responsibilities over to the main office side of the hallway, but she never hesitated for a moment to invest her personal time in making that student feel excited to come to school the next day. And of course, the middle school counseling office is a very busy place, especially during testing week. Her organization skills and her ability to prioritize needs and tasks are second to none, and she is definitely a consummate professional. She seeks solutions in an environment that is literally rooted in problems. And she never says no to a student or staff member in need. And one of her hidden talents is that when she wears a blazer, she has the unique ability to look like the curly-haired building principal, and I don't stop her. So in summary, Mrs. Berry, you are truly an integral part of the Cinnaminson School District, and you are very deserving of this recognition. She is truly kind and humble and hardworking, and it is so easy to see why her colleagues nominated and selected her for this achievement award. So congrats. last and certainly not least, thank you for everyone's patience. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ryan Gorman and Dr. Caitlin McCann from Cinnaminson High School.
Good evening. I'm excited to recognize Mrs. Nikki Arbalez as this year's Cinnaminson High School Board of Education Achievement Award winner. I'm in a unique position as I have been able to see Mrs. Arbalez's love of math. As a former math teacher myself, we kind of talk about it sometimes, as well as being her mentor for her master's program and being able to talk through various facets of the school with Mrs. Arbalez. What I've come to know is that Mrs. Arbalez lives her life passionately. When teaching our most advanced mathematicians, Mrs. Arbalez shows that passion through weekend review sessions, planning this year's Pi Day celebration, and decorating the hallways. Students happily join her to advance their math skills, many on weekend days or evenings leading up to the AP exam, to ensure that they are well prepared. Mrs. Arbalez shows her passion for our school by co-coaching the Math League and ensuring students have an avenue to pursue this passion. Additionally, when we suffered a tragic loss in our community last year, a group of our students wanted to play a soccer game as a fundraiser in honor of that student. Mrs. Arbalez stepped up to organize the event, which was no ordinary effort. Mrs. Arbalez helped students design and sell shirts, organize staff to play, and ensure that everything ran smoothly. The event was a huge success. In her work towards her master's, Mrs. Arbalez shows this passion of a lifelong learner. She doesn't just want to watch the schedule get made, she wants to understand it. Why does it work? How does it happen the way it does? When learning school law or completing a paper about a system in the school, she embraces how she can use all that knowledge to support her teaching, her students, and her department. One of Mrs. Arbalez's nominators spoke time and time again about this passion, saying, "Nikki's heart is big, and the students in our district mean the world to her." I could go on, but I hope that you have somehow been impacted by her kindness and generosity and understand that she is very deserving of this award. Those words ring true for me as well. I'm excited to call Mrs. Arbalez for this award.
So it is my privilege to announce the Teacher of the Year for the high school is Mrs. Julie Leeds. If you'll allow me the shortest of indulgences, I know I'm going second to last, but it won't take long. I recently became really enamored of this show called Masters of Air. It told the story of a bomber squadron in World War II, and it's full of all these really dynamic characters, right? There's pilots, there's bombers, there's navigators, there's brass, there's politicians. There's all these people who are doing their very specific job to make sure that we are successful in that combat campaign. However, the character that spoke to me the most was this crew chief, right? He's this guy, he's the guy that is keeping the whole thing running, right? He's a master at his own craft. He's in and out of the planes. He's making sure that everything's running. They're really scrambling for parts. And then this incredibly dynamic scene, the pilot is looking to take off, and the plane's not working. And the mechanic jumps into the plane, and he's fixing it as they're taxiing down the runway, getting ready to take off. Literally 1 second before they fly off, he jumps out of the plane, gets in a Jeep, success, yay, everybody wins, right? Yeah, I hope you have all watched it, because if not, I just ruined the whole episode. That is, in my mind, who Julie Leitz is as a teacher, right? She is a master at her craft, and her craft is teaching kids how to learn, right? So above and beyond any topic mastery or subject-specific content, she takes every kid exactly where they are and gives them exactly what they need to be successful. And a lot of that focuses around building reading comprehension and reading skills, but it's also about where are you, where do you want to get to, what do you need to get there, and what can I do to make sure that you have what you need? And I think that that describes what is a master teacher, and I think that that also describes who Julie is. She's a fundamental part of any success that we have attained within state testing, within any reportable piece of information in which literacy is a part, which again, spoiler alert, is all of it. That is a direct byproduct of her efforts and her work and the impact that she has had on the students at Cinnaminson High School for as long as she has been there. Outside of the classroom, she's everywhere, right? If you go to an event, Julie planned it. If you enjoy a cookie after an event, Julie made sure that cookie was there, and it's probably your favorite kind. You didn't even have to tell her what it was, but she knew what it would be, and she knew what you needed, because that's what she does. She finds what people's needs, and she gives it to them. I think she plays a fundamental role in making sure our seniors have everything they need for all of the marquee events that lead up to graduation. Whether it's making sure they have all their caps and gowns, making sure they have their permission slips in, making sure they have the bobby pin that they need to hold their hair back for the graduation ceremony. Don't worry, Julie will have 50 of them. Please make sure you send them with them, though, because it is a limited supply. She's the voice of Cinnaminson social media, so if you get a message, it came from Julie. And really, she is the linchpin, in my opinion, around what the whole building runs on. I couldn't do my job without her. I don't think anybody in our building could do their job without her. And to quote one of the students that nominated her, Mrs. Leitz is awesome. Simply put, I could not say it any better. Please welcome Mrs. Leitz.
Oh, hey. Thank you very much. I feel like I should have my denim jacket on. You should. A bomber.
And so that wasn't quite last. At this time, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Llewellyn, Supervisor, Special Services, Director, Special Services for the district.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so we are the last. We are pulling up the rear here. So I have the honor tonight to welcome Miss Kelly White as the Cinnaminson Board of Education Memorial School Achievement Award winner for 2023-24. So congratulations, Kelly. So most teachers say they believe they were going to be a teacher or found their passion in teaching at a very young age. Well, this is Kelly. But it may not be for teaching, but it is definitely for special services. Kelly started working for BCIT as the Child Study Team Secretary as a student at the age of 16 years old and hasn't stopped working for a Child Study Team since. Fortunately for us, they tried to transfer her to a guidance position, so she left and came to Cinnaminson about 7 years ago. And it has been we have been very lucky recipients of that. Like most secretaries, she runs the department. Kelly works beyond her hours year-round. She is the first one in the office every day to be able to get ahead of the case managers and calls. She can answer just about any question thrown at her. She is knowledgeable in most things special ed, paperwork, deadlines, timelines, IEPs, you name it. Her depth of knowledge in child study team related information and overall knowledge of public education, the system is incredible. Kelly is the district IEP Direct Wizard. She is the person that everyone goes to with questions and concerns. She knows our IEP system inside and out and checks to make sure every student's document is ready for finalizing. And while the case managers can be very frustrating at times, and Kelly will attest to that, she demonstrates an incredible amount of patience, taking time to explain how and why they need to make changes. And any questions they have, she's always there to answer or willing to find those answers. Kelly is also our semi-expert, and not a semi-expert. She is the expert in SEMI, which is SEMI. And most people, even in special education, have no idea what that is as well. She constantly tracks down with many gentle reminders our teachers, child study team, our related service providers, and our educational support professionals to make sure they've completed their random moment in time. And if you've never heard of that term as well, you are very, very fortunate because it's pretty much just the pain of in special education. When projects come up, I know I can always count on Kelly to drop everything and pitch in. Over the years, her responsibilities continue to grow, adding to management of STAR, which is another acronym in special education, DocuSign, and a different state indicator that we respond to every year. She never complains and is willing to drop everything to get the task done. Kelly is truly someone you want on your team. She's a jack of all trades and a master of her domain. Her welcoming personality and can-do attitude make her a joy to work with. And she is an example of our pirate pride. Congratulations, Kelly.
Thank you to everyone for your patience. I know this seems like it's a long meeting, but in all honesty, the principals were tasked with keeping it as short as possible, and that's a very difficult thing to do when you have so many wonderful things to say about these folks. So I'll ask for one last round of applause, and we're going to take a. I should note one housekeeping item. I know we have a lot of young folks in here. We've got bedtimes. We've got homework to do, right, gentlemen? So we're going to take a. I'm going to ask Mrs. Fitzwater to take a brief recess, and if you would like to, we have our backdrop set up outside. If you'd like to take some pictures, and we'll reconvene here in just a couple minutes. But everybody is invited to stay. The most fascinating parts of the board meeting are yet. So thank you and congratulations. Please call for a 2-minute.
Yep. Call for a 2-minute recess. Okay, we're moving on to section 9, the committee reports. We had one committee meeting this month, and that was the policy committee. Mr. Evans, the chair, will give us a report on that.
Here are the meetings for here are the minutes for the last policy board meeting. The policy committee met online via Google Meet on Tuesday, April 30th. The committee continued their review of policies related to homeschool students and participation in extracurricular activities. The committee engaged in a discussion based on a list of articulated concerns by committee members and members of the full board. Mr. Capello shared survey results he gathered from polling superintendents in Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties related to their practices. The committee scheduled a follow-up meeting to continue discussion of these policies for Monday, May 20th.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Ms. Sycombe, can I have a motion to approve Section 9, Item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny.
Sorry.
I heard it, I wasn't sure. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Meeker?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Moving on to Section 10, public comments on agenda items. Members of the public are reminded that comments should be limited to items appearing on this meeting's agenda. There will be another opportunity during this meeting to comment on non-agenda items. Anyone in the public wish to speak on agenda items?
Seeing none.
Okay, we're going to move on to Section 11, personnel, certified and non-certified. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section 11, Letter A, seeking the board to approve the following appointments and adjustments as listed in the agenda under number 1, items A through F on certificated, items A through D on non-certificated, and item number 2 through 8. We have no transfers this evening. Under letter C, resignations and retirements, seeking the board to approve items 1 and 2. Under letter D, extra duty appointments, seeking the board to approve items 1 and 2 as listed in the agenda. Letter E, leaves of absence, seeking the board to approve the 3 items that are outlined in the agenda under items 1 through 3. Letter F, teaching overloads, seeking the board to approve items 1 and 2 as listed in the agenda. Letter G, seeking the board to approve item number 1. There are no mentor teachers on this evening's board agenda. Under student teachers, there are 3. We're asking the board to approve the 3 items listed in the agenda. Under student teachers, letter I, 1 through 3. Substitutes, seeking the board to approve item number 1, letters A through H. And under letter K, tutors, seeking the board to approve item number 1, letters A and B. And finally, we do have a job description for this evening, seeking the board to approve item number 1 as listed and attached in the agenda. Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mrs. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 11, certified, non-certified, items A through L?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Blystein. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Topps?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved.
And we do have some new folks who will be joining us in the future who are here in attendance with us this evening. I'm first going to turn it over to Mrs. Livingood, who is going to introduce someone special who is joining our district. Mrs.
Thank you,
Livingood.
Mr. Capello. At this time, I would like to introduce Heather Van Mater. If you could please stand up. Heather is going to be our new transportation supervisor for the district. She comes to us with 20 years of experience in the school transportation business. She started as a bus driver in Columbus. She later went to Tabernacle as a supervisor, and then she finished up at Hopewell as a supervisor, and now we are very lucky and excited to have her join us at the beginning of July. So welcome to Heather.
Congratulations, Heather. Welcome to Cinnaminson. As you already know, it is a tall task, and we're very happy to have you here with us. Now, principals, we'll pass it around, so we'll start. Mr. Gorman, we'll go reverse birth order. You get first.
It is my privilege to introduce you to Elizabeth Green. She is a chemistry teacher, will be with us starting in September, a graduate of TCNJ, and
of course,
by way of Cherry Hills.
Congratulations and welcome. Mrs. Melcher, anyone to introduce? No? Mrs. DeSimone?
It is my pleasure to introduce you to Ms. Alexis Olson. Alexis is a graduate of Rutgers for both her bachelor's degree and master's of education. She comes to us via New Brunswick School District, and we're teaching special education in an inclusion setting, and we look forward to having her join the Rush staff next year.
I have the honor of introducing Ms. Jessica Grau. She is a recent Rowan graduate. I believe she just graduated yesterday.
Congratulations.
The New Albany kindergarten team as a special ed teacher in kindergarten.
Oh,
Looking around, I don't think I missed anybody, but welcome to the team. We know you're going to have a great career here with us. Congratulations
Congratulations, but you are slipping. It's only 33% TCNJ graduates this time.
I could be accused of things.
Welcome, everybody. All right, we are moving on to Section 12, Curriculum and Instruction. Dr. Goldburn.
Thank you very much. Under number 12, letter A, professional development, requesting those requests that are attached. Under letter B, requesting approval of the field trips that are attached. Under letter C, new instructional materials, letters A, B, and C. Nothing under letter D this month. Requesting approval of the HIB report, letter E. Letter F is the monthly suspension report. And under letter G, requesting renewal of several memberships for the 24-25 school year, letters A through D.
Thank you, Dr. Goldburn. Mr. Evans, can I have a motion to approve Section 12, Curriculum and Instruction, items A through G?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Topps?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 12, Special Education. Mrs. Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under letter A, contracts, seeking the board to approve an agreement with Walsh Legacy LLC to provide home instruction from April 28th to the remainder of the year. Number 2, seeking the board to approve an agreement with Interactive Kids to provide home instruction for the 23-24 school year. And number 3, for 2024-25 service contracts, seeking the board to approve agreements with the Educational Services Unit of Burlington County to provide the following services for the 24-25 school year. A, professional services as it's scheduled to be attached. B, non-public school nursing services. C, non-public school chapters 192 and 193 as set forth by the New Jersey Department of Education. And letter D, IDEA services to eligible non-public students as attached. Oh, sorry. I have to move on here. Letter B, student placements, seeking the board to approve student contract agreement with Titusville Academy for one student from April 11th until June 30th, 2024, as attached. And letter C, consultant agreement, there are none. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Llewellyn. Ms. Blystein, can I have a motion to approve Section 13, Special Education, items A through C?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Topps?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 14, Policy. Mr. Capello.
Thank you again, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section 14, letter A, seeking the board to approve on second reading and adoption the following policies as listed in the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Meeker, can I have a motion to approve Section 14, Item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Topps?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 15, Business and Finance. Mrs. Livingood.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section A, grants, item number 1, that the board accepts the revised 23-24 funding statement for Chapter 192-193 is attached. And item number 2, that the board approves the amendment to the ARP ESSER grant as attached. Under Section B, Finance, item number 1, that the board approves the 24-25 Student Activity Center budget as attached. Item number 2, that the board approves the withdrawal from capital reserve in the amount of $1,347,840 to be withdrawn for the middle school boilers and domestic hot water heater project as attached. Item number 3, that the board accepts the 23-24 Commission for the Blind funding statement and obligation as attached. Item number 4, that the board approves the tuition adjustment due to Gloucester Township Public Schools for the 22-23 school year as attached. Item number 5, that the board approves the district to become a member of the following cooperative purchasing agreements at no cost to the district: Bergen Bids and Ocean County Procurement Portal. Under Section C, Operations, item number 1, that the board approves a district piano which is in disrepair to be placed for sale through Gov Deals. Item number 2, that the board accepts with appreciation the donation of $904.28 from the Cinnaminson High School class of 1973 to be applied to outstanding lunch balances. And item number 3, that the board approves the completed school bus emergency evacuation drills that took place on Tuesday, May 7th, as attached. Under Section D, Contracts, item number 1, that the board approve the anticipated 24-25 contracts as attached. Item number 2, that the board approves the parental contract for student transportation as attached. Item number 3, that the board approves a contract with Red Rover Technologies for absence management and recruitment and hiring services as attached. Item number 4, that the board approves a contract with RICO for a replacement printer as attached. Item number 5, that the board approves the award of request for proposal to Sodexo Management for the 24-25 school year as attached. Item number 6, that the board approves the revised receiving tuition agreement as attached. Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mrs. Livingood. Ms. Topps, can I have a motion to approve Section 15, Business and Finance, items A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Meeker?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. We have no other business tonight, so we're moving on to Section 17, Public Comment. During the public comment section of the meeting, the board will seek public comment on any item. Members of the public are reminded that if they wish to speak when called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will not exceed 30 minutes. With that said, anyone wishing to make a public comment?
Sorry, is this for just what you just discussed? I missed
No, this is public comment on anything.
On anything.
How you doing? My name is Anthony Flunder. I live at 2408 Chestnut Hill Drive. Last time I spoke, it's about race for my daughter. I had another incident, not even a month later. I'm tired. I've been on third shift 18 and a half years. I just went to first shift yesterday. Y'all have my full and undivided attention. If y'all not going to help me, no one's going to address anything, I'm going to do what I have to do. It's not fair, and it's not right. That girl, 12 years old, she got caught a black bitch nigger on the bus. So, it's hard being the minority in a room when you're not the majority. Whether you're Jewish, gay, Muslim, it doesn't matter. We pay taxes. We live here. She has a right to maximize her potential, her education, and any outside activities as needed. Enough's enough. And I've been speaking with the other black and brown members of the community. They are scared. I'm not scared. I will come to every meeting. If y'all don't want to be a change, I'm a change. Same incidents, little fires everywhere. Everyone's scared to speak up. Hush and go to school. It ain't right. That man knows me. I worked at BCIT since 2015. I resigned in 20. It's hard and it hurts. I'm her protector. I'm her hero. And I feel like I'm failing because y'all are failing me. So I'm gonna hold y'all accountable because when she do something, y'all hold her accountable because she's a representation of me. It's not right. I want to know the last meeting I spoke. I don't know when y'all, this is my second meeting ever. I'm not a polished speaker. I'm not no politician. I'm a concerned parent. And if I coach, if this is one of my students, I've been there before where I spoke on behalf of one of my players. So it's not just about my kid. It's not, but it is about my kid right now. I still want to know about the applications that are minorities that have applied. Have they had any interview process? What's the process? I want to know how many HIBs have been filed at the end of the year. How many were race-driven? Any type of prejudice, prejudge. We putting out fires everywhere, not making us better. I want to come here. I want to clap. I want to be happy. I want to be a deadbeat downer. I ain't clap for nothing in here. I have nothing to clap for. Because my child's not happy. She's upset. And then they want include her in the activities. Why would I subject her to activities when she don't feel safe in the school district? Then there was an incident last week with a teacher where she said she wanted to slap the class and shut up. The principal handled it. But yet, you don't feel included with the staff. You don't feel included with your students and your peers. It went from, we're not going to talk to you, we'll shy away from you growing up from kindergarten to 5th grade. Now it's getting verbal. What's the next step? My daughter not going to kill herself.
Thank you, Mr. Flunder.
Hi, Eileen Blystein. I live in Cinnaminson. I kind of agree 100% with Mr. Flounder. You know, there's a lot that goes on. We talk about bullying. We talk about all this stuff. And I have people texting me throughout the town saying that their kids in class are being bullied because they're Christian by a teacher, you know, being made fun of, and that they don't want their parents to say anything to the school because then there'll be more ramifications. So it's not just bullying, it's a lot of bullying. And unfortunately, what you're teaching, you teach, you know, HIB, you teach bullying, you're teaching bullying, we're getting more bullying. I don't know what is happening from it. But I really ask that everyone look at that bullying policy and do something different, because there's more bullying, and this is horrible. I can't believe that nothing is happening with what these kids are doing, what's going on. It's ridiculous, it's disgusting. You know, this is, you know, we pat ourselves on the back. Cinnaminson such a great school. It is, but you know what? It's not. It's not. That should never, ever happen. That the teacher should be held accountable. Every student should be held accountable. Kids are afraid to say something because they're going to be a target. You know, we need people to step up. We need you all to change the policy. It's not effective. If this continues, I mean, I don't understand why there's more race problems, more religion problems, more bullying when we have this policy. So please look into it and hold these kids accountable. Do something that holds them accountable. Don't, you know, I know a thing is just you just suspend people for so many days. I don't know how many people learn from being suspended. They learn how to do time. They get time off. It's not good enough. They have to be held accountable. Maybe they have to write an essay. Maybe they have to attend a class or something. But you have to do better. You know, Brittany's not here. You guys have to do better. And I mean that because I love this town, but I don't love that, and that's disgusting. And I thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Blystein. Any other members of the public who'd like to address the board at this time? Seeing none.
Okay. Thank you. We will move on to the comments from the board. Mr. Kenny?
Congratulations to our first graduates of the mentoring program. We're proud of you for trying something new and for taking the challenge. Congratulations to all the faculty and staff award winners tonight. And thank you to our volunteer award winner. Congratulations to all of our athletes. Make Cinnaminson proud. And to Miss Riley Gartland, who was recently honored by the New Jersey State Board of Education and Commissioner of Education as a 2024 Milken Award winner.
She's here.
Congratulations.
A little out of turn, but congratulations to Ms. Garland.
Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. It's nice to see a big crowd. Please join us again, and thank you to those from the audience who spoke during the meeting. We appreciate you speaking up. Thank you to our principals. We hope you had a wonderful Principals Day last week, and thank you to all of our teachers. You go above and beyond every day to bring out the best in our students, and we appreciate it more than you know. Happy Teacher Appreciation Day today. Thank you to our nurses. Thank you for your endless support for all of our students. It does not go unnoticed, and happy School Nurses Day tomorrow. Thank you to our local businesses for their continued support of our school district. That was an impressive list behind us earlier tonight.
Agreed.
And best wishes to all the students participating in their spring concerts this month. And that's about it. The next regularly scheduled meeting is June 11th, the final meeting of the school year, beginning at 7 o'clock, and hopefully will be held in the middle school cafeteria. Information can be found on the district website. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. We will be going into executive session, but there will be no business after the executive session. So with that, Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Topps. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're moving into executive session. Good night, folks, and thanks for coming out.
Thank you.